God, help us trust, open, and receive. Amen. Before I get into my sermon, I'm going to tell you that last week Bruce preached, and his sermon talked about yes. We did not collaborate, we did not coordinate. This sermon was in the can before he preached, and that has happened all year with us. It's fun. Things flow together. I like that, I trust it, and I think it's meaningful. So, a little tidbit. And now I am no longer in the world, but they are in the world, and I am coming to you. Holy Father, protect them in your name that you have given me, so that they may be one as we are one. This passage is one of my favorites. It's at the Last Supper when Jesus is praying for his disciples, when he asks God, almost pleads with God, to protect and empower them as he prepares to leave. One time I was part of an exercise in which I was invited to place myself in this scene, to see, hear, and feel, to wonder what it was like there and then and how I was moved by that. And I came away thinking that Jesus was so aware of the magnitude of this time and what he was facing, and he cared so much for his disciples, that he was sort of praying the same thing over and over with similar and repeated words. It's like that beautiful thing we do sometimes when we praise someone, maybe in front of a group of people, and we just keep putting words together, sometimes stumbling over them, repeating, as we do our best to honor them. This passage today doesn't exactly flow easily, you know. And what I have also come to hear in these words is Jesus asking them to say yes to their potential, yes to God's power, yes to their preparation for the unknown. As you have sent me into the world, so I have sent them into the world. Jesus was preparing them to say yes to a next step. He knew it would be hard, but he knew they were needed. You saying yes, us saying yes to God. It doesn't have to be as wild, far-fetched, or anxiety-producing as you might think. You may never see a burning bush, or be visited by an angel, or have a dream in which God speaks directly to you. But you just might receive other invitations to say yes. So it's best to prepare. But how? As I have thought about Jesus and the disciples, as well as my journey and how communities journey together, I've been drawn to focus on how yes relates to the central message of the Bible, which is trust. The Bible can be thought of as one long invitation to trust, as offering different stories, different approaches, different characters to get us to trust. It's basic marketing, right? Don't the experts say we have to hear something 7 times or see it before we click to buy or do all that stuff? And with God, maybe it's 70 times 70. Get it? You biblical people out there, 7 times 70? Trust. I've even rethought its place in the spiritual journey recently. Throughout this year, at times, I would stand up here and begin a sermon by inviting you to open and trust and receive. Open up, trust, and receive. But I recently realized that it's hard to open to God if you don't trust. It's hard to open if you can't trust that process. So I've reordered this grounding prayer, which is a posture that really I seek to embody every day and live into. To first be trust, so that you can open, so that you can receive. Trust first. I've thought about what is required to trust and to say yes. To my point that saying yes doesn't have to result in a cataclysmic change or upheaval in your life, I want to add, saying yes does not have to be something you do alone. You don't have to say yes alone. This is community. This community manifests here on Sundays and many other ways throughout the week and the year. Coming together requires intention, and it produces support, comfort, insight, strength, challenge, and more. I'll wager that more than a few yeses here over the years have come because a person or group receives something from this community, something allowing them to take an unusual, scary, or unknown step. You are not alone. You can say yes with others, because of others, for others. The night before his death, Jesus was not alone. He did not want to be alone. He chose to be where he was and with whom he was. He was saying yes and preparing to say yes more times in those coming days in community. I've been fortunate to have community support, even when it might appear that my yeses were just between God and me. Just ask JoJo. Ask her what crazy things I've done in the name of calling, in the name of leaning into trust and not fear. They may have scared her, or more often made her laugh, I think. But she trusted something. She said yes in her own ways, maybe more times than she'd like. I'm not sure I could have had said yes without that. No matter how clear the vision and how right the feel, I'm just not sure I could have taken some steps alone. And Cole didn't have to say yes to my sometimes unorthodox, last-minute request to be part of these services. But he did. And in a note that I'll keep forever, he said, "I'll be your Jesus anytime." Now, Cora, on the other hand, is a little more discerning. Cora, your yeses look a little bit different, and that's okay. That's okay. Yes happens best in community. And community can look different in different seasons. There's been a lot of trust and yes here over the past year. Our yeses have included Kate and Bruce offering gifts and decades of experiences in ways that have fit so well. Katie being open to a different step at a time of confusion. Alec continuing to go above and beyond with yet another minister boss. Keller deciding that life in the fast lane was overrated and that he could get the office in shape better than anybody else. Julia jumping into an office situation with thousands of opinions and few clear answers. Martell smiling patiently and adjusting to new folks who need a little time to just get it. And our moderators, 3 wise women who said big yeses during a unique time. Sarah Wilson, Mary Staley, and Nancy Lohman. And so many of you, probably all of you, many who are busy, tired, or questioning, but still stepped up to serve on committees, meet social needs, care for others, and more. So many yeses in community, because of community. Perhaps not wild revelations, but still important and life-giving. Can we thank them and you right now? Right about now, I would love a revelation about my next yes. Many of you would love revelations about your next yeses in whatever forms of life. And I don't know what's next, but I know I have learned from being here with you. I learned about my gifts for weaving stories and space to nurture meaning. I learned that we can have fun and take on big existential questions. I learned that there are many, many ways to trust how God works, to expect that, and that being in the flow can help others. So I learned more about saying yes. And we learned, or maybe just remembered, different ways of preparing the way, and that creativity is good in doing so. We experienced and were empowered to transition well. You did that. And this year's story is a good one. It's a story of becoming ready together for the next chapter. You should be proud. I want to share a story about a man who was invited to preach at a church a few years ago. When he received the invitation via text, he thought, that would be fun, but it would require work because I haven't done that in a while. And I'd have to write the sermon on vacation. But of course he would say yes. He valued the community and he wanted to help. But he forgot to reply to the text. He forgot to say yes. A few months later, this man is sitting on the beach during vacation, and he wonders, am I scheduled to preach? Or did the minister find someone else because I didn't reply? After checking an email from the church, he found that he was indeed listed as the preacher that week. So he got to work. And he had fun writing the sermon. And then he had fun giving it. And then a few days later, the moderator from that church learned that the current minister would be leaving and asked him if he'd be the interim minister. And that's how I got here. With a series of yeses. And there's a lesson I take from that has been affirmed in other situations in life. When people recognize your gifts, when they want you to do something, when they want you to help, say yes. God has likely prepared you for whatever comes next, and next, and next. You do not have to do all the work. You don't have to know everything about faith and calling. Experiences will prepare you. God will prepare you. Trust that. But ultimately, there are times when you have to say yes. When you have to say yes. You prepare for that by learning to be ready, by becoming who you are in relationship with God and others. Jesus knew it would be hard for his disciples. Jesus knows things will be hard for us. With them and with us, as Bruce told us last week, Jesus activates imagination. Jesus activates imagination. The disciples and us and we are more than pawns. Our yes can lead to extraordinary and creative ways of honoring God and others. It is true that we can only understand so much. It is true that we will be afraid and we will hold back and we will run at times. But Jesus won't give up. Jesus will keep asking and inviting and supporting until you hit send, and even if you forgot to. Holy Father, protect them in your name that you have given me, so that they may be one as we are one. We are like the disciples at the Last Supper, with one key difference. We know what happens next. We know Easter is always here or just a step away. We are Easter people all year round. And that means we can always say yes and live fully. We often need to learn to walk again, one step at a time, one yes at a time. And then we can run and dance and go through the fire and more. Yes and amen.